When you woke up this morning, I'm sure that one of the first things that came to your mind is, how are baseball and the bid industry, how are they alike? Closer than you think. Back before I joined the bid industry a number of years ago, one of the things that I heard and one of the things that I came to learn is that the bid industry doesn't exactly have the most virtuous reputation out there. Before coming on board here at BidPrime, I had a number of meetings with Stephen Hetzel, the COO here at BidPrime. And in my conversations with Stephen, I kind of got the idea that his vision for BidPrime, his vision for reshaping the bid industry is different than what other folks are subscribing to out there. It also took me back to a conversation I had with John McVaney, one of the minority owners of the Houston Astros, going back to 2012 when the Jim Crane Group purchased the Houston Astros organization from Drayton McLane. You baseball historians, you probably remember the details. In my other life outside of BidPrime, I'm involved in sports broadcasting. So again, I go back to my visit with John. It was during a baseball game broadcast, not long after the Crane Group made the purchase of the Astros. And I asked John, how's the Crane Group going to change the Houston Astros organization? And again, you folks who know baseball, you know the Houston Astros don't exactly have a storied history of championships, trophies, and popping bottles of champagne. Not the Yankees, not the Dodgers, that's for sure. And so I asked John, how are the Astros going to go about transforming that organization without the history? Did have the loss in the World Series back in 2005. How will things be different? And I remember John saying that the Astros under the Crane Group were going to start with the basics, build from the foundation, and then go up. John talked about the fact that the Astros, they aren't in a market the size of, I mentioned, the Yankees or the Dodgers. The Astros weren't going to go out and spend millions upon millions of dollars to bring in assets, also known as players, to try to bolster up the organization. It goes back to that foundation part, doesn't it? What they were going to do is take a measured, systematic approach to building up their farm system, and ultimately they were hoping that some of those guys in their farm system would be the nucleus of championship baseball teams. So in effect, what John and the ownership group for the Astros were doing, they were talking about being different. Weren't going to use the Moneyball tactics, weren't going to go through free agency to try to build the organization with smoke and mirrors. It was going to take some hard work and some smarts to get the Astros to where they wanted to be. One of the questions I also asked John was about a timetable, and with all the various variables out there, he didn't want to commit to a timeline, but the goal was for the Astros to get to a championship level, and based on recent results, I'd say the Astros are on their way. So now we round the bases and we come back to our beloved bid services industry. And what I see when I look out across the landscape is there are a number of businesses who are trying to do what we do with shtick and sizzle being the foundation of their efforts. Rather than hard work, some take liberty with facts. You'll hear people say, you have to use our solution. You have to go with our service if you want access to bid documents. To put it kindly, that sales pitch is way out in left field. We've also noticed that some are using that old hidden ball trick of trying to portray themselves as something that they're really not. Rather than embrace who they are and what they do, what they bring to the market, they try to use some smoke and mirrors and portray themselves as something they're not. Look, if you're housed in a mega office plex, you've got a coffee bar, you've got a basketball court, you've got all kinds of schnazzle dazzle. You're not a ma-and-pa gritty little startup, are you? Full disclosure, we hung our shingle here back in 2009, and we still embrace that scrappy outlook that we had back when we first started our business. And really our goal is to hold on to our philosophy of anything is possible when it comes to reshaping the bid services industry. The Astros didn't put together the largest payroll in Major League Baseball. They didn't throw money at their issues once upon a time when the Crane Group took over. And we have the same philosophy here at BidPrime. We're not going to throw people, we're not going to throw money at solving problems. We use our technology and our brain power. Look, let me tell you a secret. There are going to be people out there who are going to tell you that if you spend more money on their bid service, you're going to win more bids. With a tip of the cap to Bernie Madoff, it's not like the lottery. It isn't the more you spend, the greater likelihood that you're going to have success. And how about try this? If the bid service that you're considering going with If they say that they can hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, ask them to prove it. Ask them to show you with, I don't know, a free trial. Have them show you how great they are before you make the purchase. Regardless if you're building and growing your business, if you're in the bid service industry, or if you're trying to build a championship level baseball team, there are a lot of common characteristics. The bottom line is, dare to be different. Hit it out of the park.